Imagine a vast, endless sea of golden sand, stretching farther than the eye can see, silent and unbroken, hiding secrets that have slumbered for millennia. Beneath this shifting desert, entire civilizations lie buried, their streets, temples, and marketplaces swallowed by time and wind. Some call these places the lost cities of the sands. Legends whispered by travelers, chronicled in obscure manuscripts, and dreamed of by explorers. One such city, Ubar, often referred to as the Atlantis of the sands, was a name that drifted through history like a mirage rumored to be wealthy, expansive, and ultimately doomed to vanish without a trace. For centuries, adventurers searched its supposed location in the heart of the empty quarter, wandering amidst dunes taller than modern skyscrapers, guided only by tales from Bedouins and ancient texts that hinted at a city of unimaginable prosperity swallowed by divine punishment or the desert itself. These deserts, hostile and unyielding, seemed to guard their secrets fiercely, erasing footprints almost as quickly as they were made, until the age of satellites and synthetic radar arrived. Now, technology allows us to peer beneath the surface, revealing shapes and lines that suggest walls, streets, and forgotten settlements, hidden beneath thousands of years of sand. But even with modern tools, the story remains enigmatic. Who lived there? What caused these cities to disappear so completely? Was it famine, invasion, or some mysterious natural cataclysm? Each discovery offers tantalizing glimpses of human ingenuity, yet every answer seems to birth a dozen new questions. As we begin our journey into the lost cities buried beneath the sands, prepare to leave behind the world you know and step into realms of mystery, where time itself seems to have paused, leaving only echoes in stone and sand, waiting patiently for someone to listen. And as we peer deeper into this sun-scorched landscape, we must ask, what other secrets have deserts been hiding, quietly erasing from memory for thousands of years, just beyond our sight? Our journey begins with the fabled city of Ubar, a place that for centuries existed more in story than in reality. Ancient Arabian texts spoke of it as a nexus of wealth, a trading hub for frankincense, myrrh, and other precious commodities that were worth their weight in gold. Caravans once crossed the harsh sands, navigating by stars and Bedouin wisdom, connecting distant kingdoms through a network of trade routes that seemed almost impossibly precise, given the harshness of the empty quarter. Travelers described the city as glittering with prosperity, with walls and towers that reflected the desert sun like molten metal. Yet, despite its grandeur, Ubar vanished from history, leaving only whispers behind. For generations, explorers ventured into the heart of this inhospitable desert, searching for signs of human habitation amidst the dunes, often returning with nothing but sand in their boots and stories of mirages that teased them with visions of towers and palaces. The mystery of Ubar captivated the imagination, drawing everyone from scholars to adventurers, all chasing the idea of a city swallowed by the desert itself. It wasn't until the late 20th century, however, that technology began to transform myth into tangible possibility. Satellite imagery, scanning vast expanses of desert from orbit, revealed unusual geometric patterns beneath the sand's lines and shapes too precise to be natural formations. When archaeologists followed these signals with ground surveys and radar, the remnants of ancient roads, wells, and structures slowly emerged from the earth, confirming that somewhere beneath the shifting dunes lay the bones of a real civilization. Yet even with this revelation, Ubar remains as enigmatic as ever. The cause of its disappearance is debated. Some suggest the desert swallowed it gradually through sand, encroachment, and water scarcity. Others propose sudden collapse due to earthquakes or other natural calamities. The ruins themselves, when glimpsed through radar and satellite images, seem almost to hum with a silent testimony, whispering stories of human ambition and impermanence. As we linger on the edges of Ubar, scanning its buried streets with the eyes of modern science, we are reminded of the fragile thread of civilization, the delicate balance between survival and oblivion. And if Ubar could disappear so completely, swallowed by time and sand, one can't help but wonder what other cities, other wonders, might still be lying silently beneath the deserts, waiting to be uncovered. The sands are vast, and their secrets are patient. From the scorching sands of Arabia, we turn our gaze northward to the windswept deserts of Mongolia, where the story of Khara Khoto, known as the Black City, unfolds with equal mystery and intrigue. Unlike Ubar, Khara Khoto was not merely a whisper in legend. It thrived along the Silk Road, a lifeline connecting east and west, where merchants, monks, and adventurers once traversed long distances to exchange silk, spices, precious metals, and ideas. The city's walls, built from dark, sun-baked bricks, earned it its ominous name. By the late 14th century, however, Khara Khoto vanished from historical records. Some chroniclers suggest a Mongol withdrawal, others speak of internecine conflict, while yet more hint at a quiet desert reclamation, civilization gradually suffocated by sand and neglect. For centuries, its exact location remained unknown. Concealed within the vast, seemingly endless deserts of the Gobi, it was only in the 20th century, when explorers armed with maps, historical accounts, and local Bedouin guidance ventured into these desolate lands, that the city's ruins were rediscovered. When they arrived, they found remnants of fortified walls, fragments of temples, and the eerily intact remains of Buddhist manuscripts, all whispering stories of a people who had mastered the desert, only to be undone by its unforgiving hand. Archaeologists and historians marveled at the sophistication of Khara Khoto's design. Streets meticulously planned, defensive walls that withstood centuries of wind and sand, and cultural artifacts hinting at a cosmopolitan community engaged in trade, religion, and diplomacy. But Khara Khoto's re-emergence also raises uncomfortable questions. How could a city of such significance vanish so completely from maps and memory? How did the desert swallow an entire hub of commerce and culture without leaving a more obvious trace? Some researchers propose that shifting trade routes and political turmoil led to its abandonment, while others suggest the environment itself whined sandstorms, and water scarcity quietly erased its presence over decades. Standing amid its ruins, one can almost hear the echoes of life that once thrummed through the city, the clatter of carts on stone streets, the prayers of monks, the chatter of merchants exchanging tales from distant lands. And yet, there is an undeniable emptiness, a haunting reminder of impermanence. Khara Khoto is not just a relic of history. It is a symbol of how human ambition and natural forces collide, leaving behind mysteries that challenge our understanding of survival and civilization. As we leave the Gobi behind, we carry with us a lingering question. If Khara Khoto could vanish so thoroughly, what other marvels might still lie buried, silently waiting beneath the shifting sands of deserts yet unexplored? Next, we move to the modern desert of the Arabian Peninsula, where the story of Saruq Al-Hadid unfolds, a remarkable bridge between ancient ingenuity and modern technology. Unlike Ubar or Khara Khoto, whose rediscoveries relied on historical accounts and physical exploration, Saruq Al-Hadid emerged from the sands through the most contemporary of means: artificial intelligence combined with advanced radar scanning. In March 2025, researchers analyzing satellite data of the al-Khali, known as the Empty Quarter, noticed unusual patterns beneath the dunes' linear shapes and subtle depressions suggesting walls, courtyards, and human settlement. When these signals were processed with AI capable of distinguishing natural formations from human-made structures, the outlines of a sprawling, 5,000-year-old city emerged with startling clarity. Excavations confirmed a complex society thriving in the harsh desert environment, leaving behind tools, pottery, and metalwork that demonstrated highly developed craftsmanship. Unlike other lost cities slowly swallowed by sand and time, Saruq Al-Hadid provides direct evidence of trade, metallurgy, and social organization in a period previously thought to be sparsely populated. Artifacts suggest far-reaching connections, hinting at networks linking distant communities through goods, ideas, and possibly early forms of communication. Yet the city's sudden disappearance remains a puzzle. Some propose environmental collapse droughts, shifting sands, or depleted resources, while others suggest political instability or societal breakdown. The desert, impartial and relentless, may have simply reclaimed the land once occupied by human ambition. There is a striking poetry in the way modern technology has unveiled this forgotten civilization. Satellites and AI, lifting the veil of time, revealing what the human eye alone could never see. Saruq Al-Hadid reminds us that deserts are not empty. They are archives of memory, storing the traces of human effort beneath layers of sand and stone. And yet, as the wind sculpts the dunes above the ruins, questions remain. How many other settlements lie hidden, their stories unread, waiting for the right tools, patience, and insight to uncover them? Saruq Al-Hadid whispers of civilizations that rose, flourished, and vanished, leaving only the desert as witness. From these scientific revelations, we drift into the realm of legend with Zerzura, a city of myth whispered across the Libyan desert. Unlike Ubar or Khara Khoto, which have been confirmed by archaeology, Zerzura remains elusive, straddling the line between history and imagination. For centuries, Bedouin tales describe a city of white stone, walls gleaming under the desert sun, lush gardens, and rivers flowing with eternal water, hidden paradise in endless sands. Stories tell of explorers guided by mirages or secret paths who ventured into the desert, only to return empty-handed or never at all, swallowed by dunes that shift faster than humans can navigate. Early 20th century European explorers became obsessed with Zerzura, launching expeditions that mapped little beyond sand and rock. Each report, whether of glimpsed walls or distant oasis-like reflections, fed the legend further. Modern scholars suggest Zerzura could reflect a real settlement, perhaps a series of oasis towns or trading posts, now erased by centuries of desert encroachment. Others argue it is symbolic, a dreamscape representing human desire for a safe, fertile refuge in a harsh environment. Yet the persistence of the story hints at truth. Deserts can hide astonishing things, erasing roads, walls, and the evidence of entire communities with uncanny efficiency. Even today, satellite imaging and subsurface radar are used to search the Libyan desert, hinting that traces of past habitation may still lie hidden. Zerzura reminds us that not all lost cities are found, and not all mysteries are solved. Could a city so vividly imagined be waiting silently beneath the dunes, guarding its secrets for those daring enough to find them? From the deserts of legend, we turn to the methods that uncover long-forgotten cities, peeling back millennia of sand to reveal human history. For centuries, deserts were seen as impenetrable vast seas of sand that erased footprints almost as quickly as they were made. Early explorers relied on maps, local knowledge, and endurance, braving blistering heat, sudden storms, and endless monotony. Many returned with nothing but tales of mirages and exhaustion, but the arrival of satellite imagery changed the game, transforming deserts into readable landscapes from hundreds of miles above. Satellites detect subtle terrain differences, linear depressions, unusual shapes, or faint outlines of walls and roads that are invisible to the naked eye. It was through these orbital perspectives that Ubar was finally located, its roots traced like veins beneath the desert, pointing toward a city that had eluded explorers for centuries. Radar, particularly synthetic aperture radar, can even penetrate layers of sand to reveal subsurface structures, uncovering foundations, streets, and traces of water networks. Artificial intelligence plays a key role, scanning massive datasets to highlight anomalies that indicate human activity. Once identified, archaeologists carefully excavate, revealing walls, pottery shards, tools, and sometimes written records fragments of lives that once thrived in places now silent beneath dunes. These discoveries do more than satisfy curiosity, they reshape our understanding of human history, challenging assumptions about where civilizations could thrive and how interconnected they were. Yet, even with advanced technology, deserts remain masters of concealment. For every city uncovered, countless others may remain hidden, their stories waiting for patient eyes and careful study. And as we look across endless dunes, one cannot help but wonder what other marvels lie just out of reach, beneath the sand, waiting for discovery. Having explored the tools that reveal hidden cities, we now turn to the stories that these discoveries tell, tales of trade, culture, and human ambition thriving against the harshest of environments. Lost cities buried beneath the sands are not simply abandoned ruins. They are echoes of societies that carved life from extremes, connecting distant lands and shaping history in ways only now becoming clear. Take, for instance, the findings at Saruq Al-Hadid. The artifacts uncovered, their tools, intricately designed metalwork, and remnants of daily life suggest a society engaged in long-distance trade, exchanging goods that spanned continents. It is astonishing to imagine merchants traversing endless dunes with caravan after caravan, negotiating, bartering, and exchanging not just material wealth, but ideas, beliefs, and customs. Cities like Ubar functioned as hubs along these desert arteries, nodes in a network that links civilizations separated by thousands of miles. Their existence challenges earlier assumptions that deserts were empty voids, inhospitable to sustained human settlement. The discovery of these buried settlements forces historians and archaeologists to rethink the capacities of ancient peoples, the ingenuity required to harness scarce water, the engineering necessary to construct enduring buildings in shifting sands, and the resilience to maintain social structures amidst relentless natural forces. Yet, there is an undeniable fragility to these endeavors. The very deserts that made these civilizations possible through trade, roots and strategic location also held the power of erasure. A prolonged drought, shifting sands, or political collapse could, and often did, undo centuries of human achievement, leaving behind only whispers in the wind. Khara Khoto, for instance, speaks of a city that once thrived on the Silk Road. Now silent and blackened, its temples and manuscripts buried under layers of time. Even in disappearance, these cities communicate lessons about impermanence, adaptation, and ambition. They remind us that human civilization is neither linear nor guaranteed, that even remarkable ingenuity can be undone by nature or circumstance. And yet, in every shard of pottery, every faint line of a buried wall, there is a pulse of life, a story of people who lived, worked, and dreamed amidst the desert's extremes. As we contemplate these stories, one cannot help but feel both awe and unease. The deserts are generous, revealing glimpses of greatness, yet merciless, ready to reclaim all. And so, as we leave behind the relics of trade and culture, the question lingers: how many other cities, equally vibrant, remain swallowed by sand, waiting to tell their own stories to those daring enough to uncover them? From trade and culture, we move to the darker, more haunting side of these lost cities, their mysterious disappearances, and the forces that may have erased them from memory. Deserts are not merely passive landscapes. They are active, shaping agents, capable of swallowing roads, walls, and entire settlements without leaving a trace. Consider Ubar once again. Legends describe its fall as sudden, divine punishment, while modern analysis suggests a more earthly cause, perhaps the collapse of vital water sources or shifting sand dunes that gradually engulfed the city. The very environment that supported life also harbored the seeds of erasure. In Khara Khoto, centuries of sandstorms and desert winds slowly blanketed streets and temples, turning a bustling hub into silent, blackened ruins. These natural forces remind us that deserts are as much erasers as they are preservers. They conceal as efficiently as they reveal. Yet, human factors may have contributed as well. Wars, political upheaval, and the rerouting of trade could render once prosperous cities obsolete. A city like Saruq Al-Hadid might have vanished not through violence or sudden catastrophe, but through gradual abandonment. Its population drawn to more favorable lands as climate conditions shifted or trade networks evolved. The interplay of natural and human forces creates a compelling tension. The desert as both protector and destroyer, preserving some artifacts under layers of sand while erasing the full narrative of entire civilizations. These disappearances leave us with more questions than answers. Why did these societies fail despite apparent sophistication? Were their warnings ignored, resources exhausted, or perhaps events lost entirely to history? Even Zerzura, whether mythical or rooted in forgotten settlements, embodies the mystery of the desert's power to conceal. It is a city of white stone and eternal water, glimpsed only in tales and dreams, reminding us that the desert does not yield its secrets lightly. Archaeologists and explorers today approach these ruins with reverence and caution, aware that every layer of sand may be both a clue and a barrier, preserving stories yet simultaneously concealing them. The lost cities beneath the sands are lessons in fragility, survival, and impermanence. They whisper of civilizations that reached great heights only to be swallowed by time and environment. As we contemplate their fates, one cannot help but feel a shiver of humility and curiosity. If such cities could disappear so thoroughly, what other marvels, other lessons, lie hidden beneath the deserts, waiting for eyes capable of seeing through sand, time, and silence? The desert is patient, and its mysteries endure, beyond the causes of disappearance. the deserts also reveal something far more profound: the astonishing ingenuity and adaptation of the people who once thrived in these extreme environments. Life in the heart of a desert is a study in survival, where every drop of water, every shadow of shade, and every route across the dunes could mean the difference between life and death. The cities buried beneath the sands were not mere temporary encampments. They were complex, enduring societies that harnessed their environment with skill and foresight. In places like Saruq Al-Hadid, we see evidence of advanced metallurgy, intricate pottery, and tools that required careful knowledge of local resources and techniques passed down through generations. Archaeologists have uncovered structures that suggest carefully planned streets, drainage systems, and storage facilities, all designed to cope with the harsh climate and ensure the community could sustain itself. Similarly, Ubar's location at the crossroads of ancient trade routes shows remarkable strategic thinking. Its people positioned themselves where caravans naturally converged, turning the harsh desert into an economic advantage. Even Khara Khoto, in the remote Mongolian sands, demonstrates a deep understanding of logistics, defense, and cultural life, with temples and manuscripts pointing to both spiritual devotion and intellectual engagement. These societies were not merely surviving. They were creating culture, commerce, and innovation against the odds, proving that human resilience often flourishes where the environment seems least forgiving. Yet, the desert exacts a price for ingenuity, a slow and inexorable test of endurance. Resources can dry up, sands can shift, and once flourishing communities may be abandoned to obscurity. The ingenuity of these civilizations becomes a haunting reminder of impermanence. No matter how advanced or clever, humans remain subject to the slow, relentless forces of nature and time. And there is poetry in that tension, a narrative that stretches across millennia. Civilizations rise, achieve brilliance, and fade, leaving only whispers beneath the dunes. Every tool, wall fragment, or shard of pottery is more than an artifact. It is a testament to ambition, ingenuity, and adaptability in a world that demands both. As we reflect on these buried civilizations, one cannot help but feel a sense of awe tinged with unease. For every lost city we uncover, how many others lie waiting, hidden under shifting sands, their stories of brilliance and resilience erased from history, waiting silently for the right observer, the right technology, or the right moment to bring them back to life. The deserts hold their secrets patiently, and humanity's ingenuity is measured not just in survival, but in the stories it leaves behind for the ages. As we consider the brilliance of these desert civilizations, it becomes clear that the sands do not merely erase, they also preserve, acting as a time capsule for future generations. The very elements that swallowed cities like Ubar, Khara Khoto, and Saruq Al-Hadid also shielded them, keeping secrets intact beneath layers of sand for centuries. Pottery, metal tools, inscriptions, and even fragile manuscripts survived in places where humidity, rainfall, and human interference could not reach them. At Khara Khoto, for example, archaeologists unearthed Buddhist texts that had lain undisturbed for hundreds of years. Their ink faded, but the words still legible, a voice reaching across time from a civilization thought lost forever. These artifacts do more than satisfy curiosity. They provide tangible links to the daily lives, beliefs, and ambitions of people who lived in environments that many would deem uninhabitable. Each discovery challenges the assumption that deserts were empty wastelands, revealing instead thriving hubs of culture, commerce, and human ingenuity. Yet preservation is selective. While some structures and objects endure, others vanish entirely, leaving gaps in our understanding, fragments of stories that hint at grandeur but never fully reveal it. The desert, in this sense, is both generous and merciless. Modern technology magnifies our ability to explore this hidden past. Satellite imagery, radar, and AI now allow us to predict where buried cities might exist, identifying anomalies invisible to the naked eye and offering a roadmap to the past. With each discovery, we peel back layers of sand and time, revealing complex networks of streets, marketplaces, temples, and fortifications. Saruq Al-Hadid's intricate layout and artifacts illustrate trade connections spanning regions, hinting at a level of sophistication that reshapes our understanding of early civilizations. Yet, even as we uncover these secrets, the desert retains an aura of enigma. Not all cities can be located, and many likely remain forever lost beneath dunes that shift with the wind, erasing traces as quickly as we uncover them. There is a haunting poetry in this tension. The desert hides, preserves, and reveals in cycles beyond human comprehension. Each layer of sand is both a barrier and a storyteller, protecting history while daring us to seek it. And as we reflect on these preserved remnants, one cannot help but wonder how many other civilizations, magnificent and mysterious, are lying silent beneath the sands, waiting for the patient gaze of future explorers to awaken them from millennia of quiet slumber. The deserts hold their secrets tightly, and every discovery is only a glimpse of the vast, hidden world beneath. From preservation, we turn to the human fascination with these lost cities, the lure that has driven explorers, adventurers, and scholars to risk life and sanity in the pursuit of hidden worlds. The deserts themselves, with their rolling dunes and blinding horizons, are a stage of extremes, heat that sears the skin by day, freezing nights that chill to the bone, and winds that can obliterate tracks in minutes. And yet, for centuries, humans have been drawn into these inhospitable landscapes by stories of wealth, knowledge, and forgotten civilizations. Ubar, Khara Khoto, and the mythical Zerzura are more than archaeological sites. They are legends that blur the line between fact and imagination. Bedouins, Mongolian nomads, and medieval travelers pass down oral accounts of cities with marble streets, flowing rivers, and treasures beyond comprehension. European explorers in the 19th and early 20th centuries, driven by curiosity, greed, or scholarly ambition, risked dehydration, sandstorms, and the threat of getting irretrievably lost in pursuit of these whispers. Many never returned, their absence adding to the mystery, while those who did spoke of fleeting glimpses of walls, towers, or the shimmer of water that vanished as if conjured by magic. In the modern era, the pursuit of lost cities has evolved from perilous treks into high-tech detective work. Satellite imagery allows explorers to scan thousands of square kilometers in moments, and radar penetrates the sand to reveal patterns invisible to the human eye. AI algorithms analyze these patterns, identifying potential settlement sites, while ground teams carefully excavate with meticulous precision. Yet, despite these technological advances, the sense of mystery remains. The desert does not surrender its secrets easily. Every uncovered street or temple fragment is both an answer and a question, hinting at human life, ingenuity, and tragedy, while reminding us of the vast unknown that still awaits discovery. The human desire to find these lost cities is as much about understanding ourselves as it is about uncovering history. We are captivated by the idea that entire civilizations could rise, thrive, and disappear, leaving barely a trace. And by the thought that we might, with patience and ingenuity, pierce the veil of time and sand to glimpse a world thought forever lost. As we continue our journey through the deserts and their hidden cities, one cannot help but ask, what drives humanity to chase ghosts beneath the dunes? Is it curiosity, ambition, greed, or a profound yearning to connect with the echoes of our past? The answer, perhaps, lies buried with the lost cities themselves, waiting to be uncovered. As we ponder humanity's relentless pursuit of lost cities, we begin to understand the deserts themselves as silent storytellers, shaping narratives as much as they conceal them. Each dune, ridge, and plateau acts as a page in an unreadable book, written in sand and stone, with chapters that span thousands of years. The deserts are not merely empty spaces. They are vast, dynamic archives of human ambition, ingenuity, and vulnerability. Cities like Ubar and Saruq Al-Hadid remind us that even in seemingly inhospitable landscapes, humans have found ways to thrive, building trade networks, practicing metallurgy, and creating culture against immense odds. Yet the same environment that nurtured life also possesses an unforgiving power. Sand shifts, water disappears, trade routes realign, and what once was central becomes irrelevant. Khara Khoto's abandonment and eventual burial beneath the Gobi sands illustrate this stark truth. It was a hub of culture, commerce, and spiritual practice, yet it succumbed to the quiet erasure of time and environment. The deserts are impartial arbiters, indifferent to the complexity of human endeavor. Even Zerzura, the mythical city, speaks to this duality. Whether real or imagined, it embodies the tension between human hope and the desert's capacity for concealment. A place where paradise may exist only in memory, dreams, or legend. Modern archaeology, aided by satellite imaging, radar, and AI, has begun to decode these hidden stories, revealing layouts of streets, foundations of temples, and artifacts that hint at the rhythms of daily life. Yet for every city uncovered, countless others remain hidden, their stories locked beneath shifting sands. These technologies transform deserts from impenetrable voids into readable landscapes, but they also emphasize the magnitude of what remains unknown. The very act of discovery is tempered by humility. Every new site reminds us of the countless civilizations erased or forgotten. The desert, in its vast silence, teaches patience and reverence, demanding that we approach its mysteries with care. And as we walk, metaphorically, among these buried cities, we are confronted with a profound question. What does it mean to thrive, to build, and yet to vanish entirely? The sands keep their secrets not out of malice, but because time is their constant companion, shaping and erasing with impartial grace. As we prepare to delve deeper into these lost worlds, we are left with a lingering awareness. The desert is more than a backdrop. It is a participant in history, a custodian of mysteries, and a silent witness to civilizations that rose brilliantly and faded quietly beneath its golden waves. The sands wait, endlessly patient, for the next seeker to read their hidden tales. Having explored the deserts as both guardians and erasers of history, we turn now to the human stories hidden within these lost cities. The lives of the people who once walked streets, now buried beneath shifting dunes. These were not nameless, faceless populations. They were artisans, traders, priests, and families who built complex societies in some of the harshest environments on Earth. In Ubar, caravans of merchants traversed the empty quarter, navigating by the stars and Bedouin knowledge, carrying incense, spices, and precious metals that fueled not only the city's economy but its cultural influence. Temples rose from the sand, and markets bustled with the exchange of ideas and goods, a vibrant tapestry of human ambition. Khara Khoto, too, was more than walls and manuscripts. It was a community bound together by faith, trade, and the shared struggle to thrive in the unforgiving Gobi Desert. Buddhist monks copied texts by candlelight. Craftsmen forged tools and metalwork with extraordinary skill, and families lived their daily lives amid streets and courtyards carefully planned for efficiency and protection. Saruq Al-Hadid offers yet another window into the ingenuity of its people, revealing evidence of early metallurgy, trade networks, and communal organization that speaks to a civilization remarkably advanced for its time. And yet, these cities remind us of impermanence. Each life, each achievement could be swept away by natural forces, political upheaval, or economic shifts. The desert, indifferent and patient, reclaims what humans build, leaving only fragments for us to piece together centuries later. In imagining these lives, we can almost hear the sounds of the past, the clatter of carts over stone streets, the murmured prayers in temple courtyards, the crackle of fires in family homes. These echoes, preserved in artifacts and ruins, allow us a glimpse into human resilience, creativity, and vulnerability. They remind us that civilization is both fragile and persistent, capable of extraordinary innovation even in extreme conditions. And yet, we are left with haunting questions. How did families cope with the relentless desert, with scarcity, isolation, and danger? What joys, fears, and ambitions did they carry, knowing that their city might one day vanish beneath the sands? Each discovery, each artifact, is a fleeting bridge across time, connecting us to lives that were once vibrant and vital, now silent and buried. As we continue our journey through the lost cities of the desert, these human stories linger, guiding us deeper into mysteries of ambition, survival, and impermanence, leaving us to wonder beneath the dunes. How many more lives, stories, and civilizations wait to be uncovered, silently sleeping beneath the sands? From the lives of those who once inhabited these cities, we now turn to the vast networks that connected them, the veins of trade and culture that coursed through deserts, transforming seemingly empty expanses into bustling corridors of exchange. Far from barriers, deserts often served as highways for commerce, communication, and cultural exchange, where ideas, goods, and knowledge flowed between distant settlements. Ubar, perched at the crossroads of ancient Arabian trade routes, became a hub for frankincense, myrrh, and other valuable commodities prized across the ancient world. Caravans arrived from distant regions, bringing exotic goods, news, and travelers whose presence enriched both economy and culture. Khara Khoto, along the Silk Road, linked east and west, facilitating the movement of silk, spices, metals, and, importantly, religious and artistic ideas. Even Saruq Al-Hadid, buried beneath the al-Khali, shows evidence of trade spanning great distances, connecting it with other communities through the exchange of tools, metals, and cultural artifacts. These networks reveal civilizations far more interconnected than previously imagined, thriving in environments often assumed inhospitable or isolated. Trade brought wealth, but also fostered shared knowledge, technology, and artistry across deserts, mountains, and rivers. The existence of these networks challenges assumptions about human capabilities in antiquity, proving that long-distance travel, sustained interaction, and logistical sophistication were not only possible, but essential. Yet, these lifelines were fragile. Changes in trade routes, climatic shifts, or political instability could sever connections, leaving once vibrant cities stranded. A desert that once nurtured commerce could swiftly become a tomb of silence. The faint traces we uncover today, roads etched beneath sand, ruins of marketplaces, scattered artifact sofa, glimpses of vibrant exchange while highlighting its vulnerability. One can almost see merchants haggling under the relentless sun, travelers sharing tales of distant lands, and artisans crafting objects that would endure centuries. And yet, for all this evidence of connection, the desert remains vast and impartial, erasing what is no longer maintained and leaving us to ask, how many nodes of ancient networks still lie, hidden beneath the sands, waiting to reveal the complex web of human endeavor and interaction that once flourished here. Having traced these intricate trade networks, we turn now to the spiritual and cultural life that flourished within these desert cities, another layer of mystery preserved beneath dunes. Khara Khoto was not only a commercial hub, it was a center of devotion, learning, and artistic expression. Temples, shrines, and ceremonial spaces were carefully placed, balancing practical function with sacred significance. Archaeologists have uncovered Buddhist manuscripts, ritual objects, and other evidence of spiritual practice, showing communities deeply engaged in reflection, ritual, and devotion. The labor devoted to copying texts, constructing altars, and creating intricate religious artifacts speaks to a people searching for meaning, connection, and understanding amid the harsh desert environment. Ubar likely contains spaces of spiritual and social importance as well, though much evidence has been lost. Oral traditions speak of sacred wells and communal gathering spaces where leaders or spiritual guides offered structure, stability, and purpose. Saruq Al-Hadid provides further glimpses. Deposits of ornaments, tools, and arranged artifacts suggest ceremonial practices intertwined with daily life, perhaps connected to trade, community, or belief in forces beyond comprehension. These discoveries remind us that human ambition in deserts was not solely about survival or wealth. People sought meaning, community, and connection with the unseen. Yet these traces are fragile, surviving often only in fragments or fleeting impressions. Every carved stone, manuscript, or ritual vessel is a portal to a vanished culture, offering insight into beliefs and practices that might otherwise have been lost entirely. The deserts, impartial yet protective, grant us these glimpses while concealing much else, leaving gaps that spark curiosity and wonder. What rituals, stories, and expressions of hope remain buried beneath the dunes, whispering to those patient enough to listen? The desert holds these secrets quietly, but always with the promise of revelation, moving from spiritual life. We now explore the remarkable engineering and architecture that allowed these civilizations to thrive in some of the harshest environments on Earth. Building in the desert is an extraordinary challenge. Sand shifts endlessly. Temperatures swing from scorching days to freezing nights, and water is scarce and precious. Yet cities like Ubar, Khara Khoto, and Saruq Al-Hadid demonstrate extraordinary ingenuity, their structures finely adapted to both environment and society. Ubar relied on sophisticated water management systems. Archaeological surveys and ancient texts suggest wells, cisterns, and channels designed to capture and store rainfall, sustaining both population and trade. Khara Khoto's architecture was similarly strategic. Thick walls insulated inhabitants from desert heat, while compact layouts reduced exposure to harsh conditions. Temples and public buildings were oriented for both functional and symbolic purposes, capturing sunlight at specific times or framing distant horizons, blending utility with spiritual significance. Saruq Al-Hadid, revealed through satellite imagery and AI, demonstrates astonishing planning, zones for metallurgy, craft production, and habitation were carefully organized to optimize resources and social cohesion. Streets and courtyards reflect knowledge of geometry and early urban planning, allowing thriving communities despite extreme conditions. These architectural achievements are more than technical feats. They reveal the priorities, resilience, and vision of their builders. Every wall and foundation tells a story of human determination to create order, culture, and meaning in a landscape that seemed indifferent. Yet, the desert remained relentless. Shifting sands, climate change, and societal collapse eventually buried these cities, leaving only whispers beneath the dunes. And as we contemplate these ancient structures, one cannot help but marvel. Civilizations capable of extraordinary engineering, yet ultimately vulnerable to the slow, persistent forces of nature. The deserts remain both canvas and judge, preserving ingenuity while concealing much of its story. What other architectural marvels lie hidden beneath the sands, ready to reveal not only technical skill, but the dreams, fears, and ambitions of civilizations long vanished? From architecture, we move to the enigmatic symbols and artifacts that survive in the sands. Fragments that hint at the culture, beliefs, and daily life of lost civilizations. Every shard of pottery, every carved stone, and every inscribed tablet recovered from cities like Khara Khoto, Ubar, and Saruq Al-Hadid offers a silent testimony of human life long forgotten. At Khara Khoto, for instance, Buddhist manuscripts and religious artifacts provide glimpses into spiritual practices, but also suggest a society deeply engaged in literacy, philosophy, and education. These texts survive centuries of desert storms, buried beneath layers of sand, as if the desert itself sought to protect them for future generations. Similarly, at Saruq Al-Hadid, ceremonial deposits of tools, ornaments, and metals hint at ritual practices intertwined with daily commerce, where metallurgy was not merely a practical pursuit, but a spiritual and cultural endeavor. Even seemingly mundane object storage vessels, tools, or fragments of jewelry speak volumes. Their design, wear patterns, and craftsmanship reveal not just technological skill, but social organization, trade connections, and cultural priorities. The shapes, markings, and decorations hint at aesthetic sensibilities, perhaps even social hierarchies or symbolic meanings lost to time. These artifacts allow us to imagine the hum of life in streets now buried, merchants arranging goods, families crafting pottery for daily use, priests performing rites, children playing in courtyards, all rhythms of human existence, once vibrant, now silent under centuries of sand. Yet the artifacts are enigmatic, incomplete, challenging us to reconstruct entire civilizations from fragments. Each discovery raises questions. Who made this object, and for what purpose? How did it fit into the broader social and cultural tapestry? Why was it left behind, and how did it survive when so much else vanished? The desert preserves selectively, leaving tantalizing clues while hiding the full picture. In this sense, every object is a whisper from the past, a bridge across millennia connecting us with people who once thrived in extreme conditions, whose ambitions, beliefs, and creativity rivaled our own. As we sift through these remnants, we realize that the lost cities of the desert are more than ruins. They are repositories of human experience, ingenuity, and mystery. And yet, for every artifact unearthed, countless more remain buried, hidden beneath layers of sand, awaiting the day when technology, patience, and curiosity will bring them to light. How many stories, encoded in objects, lie still beneath the dunes, ready to reveal the lives, dreams, and mysteries of civilizations long swallowed by the sands. The desert guards these secrets silently, preserving them for those daring enough to uncover them. As we examine artifacts and symbols, it becomes evident that the deserts themselves are active participants in the story of lost cities, shaping not only the physical remnants, but also the myths and legends that surround them. The harsh environment, with its shifting dunes, relentless winds, and extreme temperatures, has the power to obscure and distort reality, blurring the line between historical fact and imagination. Consider Zerzura, the mythical city of the Libyan Desert. Bedouin tales describe it as a lush oasis of white stone and flowing water, a paradise hidden in a sea of sand. For centuries, explorers were drawn by these accounts, venturing into uncharted deserts with the hope of finding a city untouched by time. Many returned empty-handed, yet the legend persisted, amplified by stories of mirages, sudden sandstorms, and paths that seemed to vanish as quickly as they were discovered. Even for rediscovered cities like Ubar and Khara Khoto, the desert's transformative power is evident. Roads and walls that were once bustling with life have been swallowed or altered by centuries of wind and erosion. A city that existed in vivid detail 1,000 years ago can now appear as faint geometric anomalies on satellite images, only discernible through the lens of modern technology. The desert does not simply hide these civilizations. It reshapes them, creating layers of mystery that challenge our understanding. It is both eraser and storyteller, concealing details while preserving essence, forcing us to interpret fragments and speculate on the lives of those who built, thrived, and eventually vanished. Moreover, the desert has influenced human imagination, inspiring myths of lost paradises, cities of gold, and realms of eternal water. These stories, while perhaps exaggerated, often contain kernels of truth, echoes of real settlements and trade networks that existed long before modern eyes could detect them. The interplay between environmental forces and human perception underscores a central theme. Deserts are not empty voids, but active landscapes, shaping both the survival of civilizations and the stories we tell about them. As we peer across the dunes, guided by satellites, radar, and intuition, we are reminded that the desert's secrets are patient. They lie in wait, slowly revealing themselves to those who combine curiosity with technology and persistence. And so, one cannot help but wonder what other cities, hidden in plain sight beneath shifting sands, have been waiting millennia to be rediscovered. How many more civilizations, their brilliance and tragedy etched into the landscape, remain silent, waiting for the right eyes to uncover their stories? The desert keeps its secrets close, offering glimpses but never the full picture. And therein lies the eternal allure of the lost cities buried beneath its sands. From the shaping hand of the desert, we turn to the enigmatic role of water, a resource as precious as gold in these arid landscapes, and often the difference between thriving civilization and vanished city. Water dictated the rise and fall of settlements, guiding where streets were laid, where markets flourished, and where temples and homes could be constructed. In Ubar, ancient texts and modern surveys suggest the presence of wells, underground channels, and possibly seasonal rivers that allowed the city to sustain life and commerce in the empty quarter. These hidden lifelines may have enabled caravans to stop, traders to exchange goods, and communities to grow in a place that without water would have been inhospitable. Yet water was also capricious. Shifts in rainfall patterns, droughts, or the slow disappearance of underground aquifers could have turned a bustling hub into a desolate ruin. Historians suggest that Ubar's eventual disappearance may have been linked directly to the drying of these critical sources, a quiet undoing by nature itself. Khara Khoto, lying far north in the Gobi Desert, relied on a network of oases and ephemeral watercourses that shaped not just the city's architecture, but its survival. Temples and homes were strategically located near sources of water, and trade routes were designed to connect these vital points across hundreds of kilometers of sand and stone. Saruq Al-Hadid's discoveries reinforce the same lesson. Settlements were carefully sited in relation to scarce resources, with evidence of water management systems that allowed craft production and daily life to continue in a harsh climate. The presence or absence of water dictated social organization, commerce, and even spiritual practices. As many rituals and symbols in these cities appear to center on sustenance, fertility, and the life-giving force of water, the desert's influence is both subtle and profound. It shapes urban planning, compels ingenuity, and ultimately enforces limits. And while some of these water sources were long forgotten and buried beneath dunes, modern technology has begun to reveal their traces. From underground channels to faint depressions in the sand that mark the course of vanished rivers. These hidden waters are silent witnesses to human adaptation, and their discovery often illuminates why civilizations rose where they did and why they eventually fell. As we consider these vanished lifelines, we are reminded of the delicate balance required for survival in the desert. For every oasis discovered, countless more may have dried and disappeared, taking entire civilizations with them. One cannot help but wonder how many lost cities lie buried today, hidden in regions where water once flowed and life once thrived, waiting for the sands to yield their secrets. The desert holds these answers silently, patiently, a testament to both the power and fragility of life in the most extreme of landscapes. Having examined the crucial role of water, we now turn to the art of navigation, an essential skill for survival and prosperity in deserts, where landmarks vanish, mirages deceive, and endless sand offers no obvious direction. The lost cities buried beneath the sands, from Ubar in the empty quarter to Khara Khoto in the Gobi, were not isolated islands, but hubs connected by vast networks of trade and travel, sustained by human knowledge of navigation and route finding that seems almost mystical to modern observers. Caravan leaders, traders, and nomads relied on a combination of memory, oral knowledge, and celestial cues to traverse hundreds of kilometers of shifting dunes. Stars, the sun, subtle changes in sand texture, and even wind patterns became tools in a complex system of orientation. Ubar, for instance, thrived because it occupied a strategic location along converging trade routes. The ability of merchants to navigate these treacherous paths ensured not only economic prosperity, but also the city's very survival. Travelers brought news, goods, and ideas, creating a cultural and commercial vitality that might otherwise have been impossible in such a hostile environment. Khara Khoto, though far to the north, depended on similar skills. Traders traversed desert expanses, guided by knowledge passed down through generations, connecting distant settlements across seemingly empty landscapes. These journeys were not without peril. Dunes could shift overnight, erasing tracks. Sudden sandstorms could disorient even the most experienced guides, and the relentless heat or freezing nights could claim lives in a matter of hours. Yet, the mastery of navigation allowed civilizations to flourish, linking cities into networks that spanned continents. Modern rediscoveries of these lost cities often rely on understanding these ancient roots. Satellite imaging, radar, and AI do more than detect structures. They reveal the faint traces of roads, caravan tracks, and pathways etched into the earth for centuries, long after humans have vanished. These faint linear signatures tell stories of human ingenuity, risk, and adaptation, highlighting how communities leveraged knowledge of their environment to survive, trade, and communicate across vast deserts. And yet, even with advanced technology, many pathways remain hidden, lost beneath shifting sands, leaving us to imagine the bravery, skill, and intuition required to navigate without maps or modern instruments. As we trace these networks from above, one cannot help but marvel. How did entire civilizations thrive in such unforgiving landscapes, dependent on memory, observation, and skill alone? How many other lost cities remain hidden, their existence encoded in the silent pathways that cross deserts, waiting for future explorers to decode the roots of vanished human ambition? The desert holds these secrets patiently, and every discovery is both a revelation and a reminder of the vast unknown still concealed beneath its endless waves of sand. From navigation and trade, we now shift to the human resilience and ingenuity that allowed these lost desert cities to endure against both nature and time. Life in the deserts was not merely a challenge of survival, it was a constant test of adaptation, innovation, and social organization. The people of Ubar, for example, engineered sophisticated water systems to capture scarce rainfall, digging wells and channels that channeled life-giving water to the city's inhabitants. These systems were more than functional. They were carefully integrated into the city's layout, supporting trade, agriculture, and daily life. The presence of such infrastructure suggests planning, foresight, and a communal effort to harness the desert rather than succumb to it. Khara Khoto, meanwhile, demonstrates resilience in both construction and cultural preservation. Temples, homes, and fortifications were built to withstand extreme temperature fluctuations, sandstorms, and shifting dunes. Manuscripts, religious texts, and artifacts endured centuries of harsh conditions, speaking to the ingenuity and care with which these people preserved knowledge and cultural identity. Saruq Al-Hadid, recently revealed through AI and radar technology, also showcases human ingenuity in metallurgy and urban planning, with specialized zones for craft, trade, and habitation. These discoveries underscore the idea that desert civilizations were not primitive or marginal, they were sophisticated societies capable of innovation that rivaled contemporary urban centers elsewhere. Yet resilience did not guarantee permanence. Even the most ingeniously planned settlements were subject to the slow, relentless pressures of environmental change, economic shifts, and political upheaval. Droughts could dry up critical water sources, shifting sands could bury streets and buildings, and trade networks could collapse, isolating cities and hastening their decline. It is in this tension between human ingenuity and environmental inevitability that the desert casts its dual role, a landscape of opportunity, but also a relentless arbiter. These lost cities remind us that human achievement is always provisional, subject to forces far larger than individual or collective effort. Archaeological findings offer a haunting glimpse into this delicate balance. Pottery shards, foundations, tools, and manuscripts tell of lives marked by creativity, strategy, and perseverance, but also vulnerability and impermanence. As we reflect on these stories, one cannot help but feel a mixture of awe and unease. Civilizations capable of remarkable adaptation still succumbed to time, nature, and circumstance, leaving only whispers beneath the sands. And so, we are compelled to ask, how many other settlements, crafted with ingenuity and sustained by human effort, lie buried under deserts yet to be explored? The sands remain patient, holding their secrets, a silent testament to both the brilliance and fragility of human civilization in the harshest of environments. From resilience. We now turn to the enigmatic disappearance of knowledge and culture in these lost cities, the aspects of civilization that survive only as fragments, tantalizing hints of what once was. The deserts, while preserving physical structures and artifacts, often erase the context that gives them meaning, leaving us to piece together societies from shards and impressions. In Khara Khoto, for instance, Buddhist manuscripts survived, but entire libraries, streets, and possibly civic records vanished beneath the sand, leaving gaps in understanding the full scope of the city's intellectual life. Ubar's legendary reputation as the Atlantis of the sands speaks not only to its physical disappearance, but to the almost mythic erasure of its culture, ritual, and daily practices. These lost civilizations challenge modern assumptions about history, that knowledge accumulates linearly, and that human achievements, once realized, are permanent. In reality, knowledge can be fragile, dependent on transmission, preservation, and circumstance. Desert cities reveal that even advanced societies can be rendered silent, leaving only traces of art, architecture, trade, and ritual for us to interpret. Saruq Al-Hadid's rediscovery underscores this point, though advanced metallurgy and trade networks are evident. Much about social structure, spiritual beliefs, and governance remains speculative. The desert is both archivist and censor, preserving some elements while erasing others. This selective survival creates a haunting narrative. The cities themselves endure, yet the fullness of human experience, the thoughts, decisions, and ambitions of the people who lived there remains elusive. Archaeologists and researchers work to reconstruct these lost cultures, reading roads, foundations, and artifacts like hieroglyphs of human life. Every discovery raises questions about daily routines, societal priorities, and interactions with neighboring civilizations. How were social hierarchies organized? What rituals bound communities together? Which ideas and technologies were transmitted across trade networks, and which vanished entirely? These gaps fuel imagination as much as they do scholarship, inspiring legends like Zerzura, where myth and potential history intertwine, suggesting that humans have long sought to fill in the blanks left by desert erasure. The interplay between preservation and disappearance reminds us that civilization is not absolute. It is vulnerable to forces beyond human control. And yet, the fragments that survives, tools, buildings, and artifacts, for profound insight into creativity, ingenuity, and ambition. As we contemplate these remnants, one cannot help but wonder how much knowledge has been lost forever beneath shifting sands, and how many stories of human innovation and culture remain buried, waiting for the patient observer to uncover them. The deserts keep their secrets with quiet precision, offering glimpses but withholding full understanding, challenging us to piece together the echoes of civilizations that once thrived, and reminding us that the past is never fully revealed, only discovered in fragments. Having explored the disappearance of knowledge, we now turn to the role of myth and legend in shaping our understanding of these lost cities, a layer of narrative as powerful as sand itself. Deserts, with their vast emptiness, extreme climate, and shifting horizons, have always inspired awe, fear, and imagination, giving rise to stories that blur the line between reality and fantasy. Zerzura, for example, exists at the intersection of legend and historical speculation. Bedouin tales describe it as a city of white stone, with flowing waters and treasures beyond imagination, hidden deep within the Libyan Desert. European explorers of the 19th and early 20th centuries were captivated by such accounts, venturing into uncharted sands in search of paradise or gold. Many returned empty-handed, yet the allure persisted, fueled by the desert itself, mirages, disappearing tracks, and sudden storms reinforced the notion that something extraordinary was just out of reach. These myths are not merely flights of fancy. They often preserve echoes of real historical settlements now lost to time. In Ubar, for instance, legends of divine punishment for the city's inhabitants may reflect environmental or social catastrophes that led to its disappearance. Khara Khoto, too, was known as the Black City, its dramatic decline inspiring both historical records and later legends. Myths serve as vessels of memory, allowing societies to preserve cautionary tales, moral lessons, or distant histories long after cities have vanished beneath sand and time. Even today, the line between discovery and imagination remains blurred. Satellite imagery and AI reveal structures beneath dunes, but the desert's vastness means that some locations, like Zerzura, may never be confirmed, leaving the human imagination to fill the void. This interplay between myth and reality is essential to understanding desert civilizations. It reminds us that human perception is shaped as much by environment as by fact. The sands conceal and reveal selectively, encouraging stories to emerge where evidence is incomplete. Legends sustain interest, inspire exploration, and sometimes lead to discoveries that validate the faint whispers of history. Yet they also maintain the sense of mystery that defines these lost cities. As we consider these myths alongside archaeological discoveries, one cannot help but reflect on the dual nature of the desert. It is both recorder and storyteller, guardian and deceiver. Every legend, every story of vanished wealth or eternal waters is tied to real histories buried beneath dunes. And as we continue our journey through the lost cities of the desert, we are left with a lingering question: how many more myths conceal truth? And how many truths will remain forever hidden beneath the sands, waiting for patient eyes to decipher their silent stories? The desert, vast and indifferent, keeps its secrets, letting only fragments reach the light of understanding. Asterisk. From myth and legend, we now turn to the modern tools that allow us to uncover what the desert has so carefully hidden for centuries, bridging the gap between imagination and evidence. For millennia, explorers relied on intuition, oral accounts, and sheer courage to locate lost cities like Ubar, Khara Khoto, and the fabled Zerzura, often risking life and limb with little more than hope and determination. Today, technology has transformed this pursuit, revealing patterns and structures invisible to the naked eye. Satellite imagery allows us to scan vast expanses of desert from orbit, identifying anomalies in the sand that may indicate roads, walls, or foundations long buried. These higher resolution images can reveal faint geometric patterns, subtle depressions, or variations in sand color that hint at human intervention. Radar technologies, including synthetic aperture radar, SAR, penetrate beneath surface layers, detecting the outlines of structures that have been concealed for centuries. These tools allow researchers to see beneath the desert floor without disturbing it, offering a level of precision and scale previously unimaginable. Artificial intelligence now plays a crucial role in this process, analyzing massive data sets to detect the faintest signs of settlement, trade networks, or infrastructure. Algorithms can identify patterns that mimic human design, separating natural formations from those that are undeniably man-made. Sites like Saruq Al-Hadid, rediscovered only recently, showcase the power of combining AI with satellite and radar data, revealing complex urban layouts, craft zones, and metallurgical centers that were invisible beneath the dunes. Yet, even with these advancements, the desert maintains its aura of mystery. Technology can reveal shapes and anomalies, but interpreting them requires careful archaeological investigation. Physical excavation remains essential to confirm findings, recover artifacts, and understand the cultural, economic, and spiritual life of these long-lost societies. Every dig uncovers fragments of tools, pottery, inscriptions, or manuscripts, providing tangible connections to people who lived thousands of years ago. These discoveries remind us that while technology extends our reach, the desert's secrets are never fully surrendered at once. The interplay of ancient ingenuity, environmental forces, and modern exploration creates a narrative that is as much about patience and persistence as it is about science. And as we stand on the threshold of rediscovery, one cannot help but wonder how many more cities lie hidden beneath shifting dunes, waiting for satellite eyes, radar, and algorithms to illuminate them. The desert, patient and eternal, continues to guard its stories, offering glimpses only to those who combine curiosity, technology, and the perseverance to listen to its silent, sand-covered history from modern technology. We now turn to the haunting remnants of everyday life, the objects and traces left behind that allow us to imagine the rhythm of daily existence in these lost cities. While monumental architecture and trade networks reveal ambition and connectivity, it is in the small, intimate details that the true humanity of these civilizations emerges. Pottery shards, broken tools, and fragments of jewelry found at sites like Khara Khoto and Saruq Al-Hadid speak of households, craftsmanship, and routines that endured long before the sand swallowed them. A carefully shaped ceramic vessel hints at the preparation of food, storage of water, or the ritual of sharing meals with family. Metal tools, partially corroded but still recognizable, suggest artisanal expertise, whether in metallurgy, construction, or craftwork, reflecting daily labor that sustained the community. Inscriptions, faded by time but still legible, capture prayers, names, or commercial transactions, giving voice to individuals who might otherwise be lost to history. Even the spatial arrangement of streets, courtyards, and workshops offers insight into social organization, where markets were placed, how neighborhoods were structured, and how communities managed interaction with the harsh desert environment. These remnants remind us that civilization is not merely monumental architecture or trade wealth. It is also the accumulated, interconnected acts of daily life. And yet, the desert is an impartial archivist. While some objects survive millennia, countless others have disintegrated, leaving only shadows of human activity. For every shard recovered, there are hundreds lost, erased by wind, sand, and the passage of time. The fragments we discover offer glimpses, but never complete clarity, forcing us to reconstruct entire worlds from scattered clues. This fragmentary survival imbues each artifact with a sense of poignancy, a reminder of both the creativity and fragility of human life. As archaeologists sift through sand and debris, each find is a portal into a vanished world, a tangible link to the people who once thrived, traded, worshipped, and dreamed in places now silent beneath the dunes. And as we consider these relics, one cannot help but imagine the lives they represent, the families, the artisans, the travelers whose footsteps once echoed across streets now buried. How many more intimate details, stories of ordinary human experience, lie hidden beneath shifting sands, awaiting discovery. The desert, in its patience and indifference, guards these secrets, offering only glimpses, teasing us with fragments that hint at the richness of life once lived in civilizations lost to time. From the remnants of daily life, we now explore the ultimate enigma that surrounds these lost desert cities, the mystery of their disappearance. How could civilizations that flourished, traded, and built with ingenuity vanish almost entirely, leaving only whispers beneath the sands? In some cases, environmental forces played a decisive role. Ubar, for example, is thought to have collapsed due to the drying of essential water sources, turning a once thriving hub of commerce into an uninhabitable wasteland. Khara Khoto, in the Gobi Desert, may have succumbed to a combination of shifting trade routes, political instability, and environmental hardship, leaving its streets and temples to be slowly buried by relentless desert sands. In Saruq Al-Hadid, the evidence of sudden abandonment raises questions about climatic change or social upheaval as potential catalysts. Yet, for cities like Zerzura, which remain shrouded in legend, the lines between historical reality and myth complicate understanding. Tales of eternal waters, hidden treasures, and paradisiacal streets may exaggerate, but they hint at real settlements whose fates were lost to time and shifting sands. The disappearance of these cities underscores a fundamental truth about human civilization. It is always vulnerable, subject to forces far beyond individual or collective control. The desert, with its extreme temperatures, shifting sands, and scarce resources, acts as both crucible and grave, fostering ingenuity while relentlessly erasing what cannot be sustained. Archaeological discoveries provide clues, but rarely offer complete answers. Artifacts and foundations tell us that people lived, traded, and built remarkable structures, yet they often cannot reveal the exact sequence of events that led to abandonment. Some scholars suggest slow decline, gradual depopulation as trade networks shifted. Others propose sudden catastrophe, famine, disease, or natural disaster as the decisive factor. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. A combination of relentless environmental pressures, social challenges, and economic changes that, over time, sealed the fate of these communities. And as we consider these vanished cities, one cannot help but feel a mixture of awe and unease. Entire civilizations, once vibrant with life, knowledge, and culture, can disappear almost entirely, leaving only fragments and stories for future generations to decipher. The desert, ever patient, keeps these secrets hidden, preserving what it chooses while obliterating the rest. How many other cities, whose streets once bustled with human ambition, lie silently beneath dunes, yet to be explored. How many stories, human dramas, and achievements have been erased by time, leaving only the faintest trace for us to uncover? The sands, indifferent yet meticulously patient, guard these mysteries, offering glimpses only to those persistent enough to search. As we approach the final layers of our exploration, we reflect on the enduring allure of lost desert cities, the way they captivate imagination, inspire discovery, and remind us of the fragility of human achievement. These cities, whether real like Ubar and Khara Khoto or mythical like Zerzura, are more than archaeological sites. They are symbols of ambition, resilience, and impact. They challenge us to reconsider what we know about the past, revealing civilizations that were sophisticated, connected, and capable of remarkable ingenuity even in the harshest environments. Each discovery, whether through satellite imagery, radar scans, AI analysis, or painstaking excavation, is a testament to human curiosity and the desire to uncover stories long buried. The deserts, in their vastness, amplify this mystery. Endless waves of sand obscure, protect, and transform, creating a narrative of concealment and revelation that stretches across millennia. For explorers and scholars, each anomaly detected beneath the dunes represents both promise and uncertainty, potential city, a forgotten settlement, or simply the tricks of light and shadow on the shifting sands. Beyond the technical aspects of discovery, these lost cities speak to something profoundly human, our need to connect with those who came before, to understand their lives, struggles, and triumphs. The fragments of pottery, the ruins of temples, the faint outlines of streets, they are more than objects. They are echoes of human ambition, the whispers of families, artisans, and leaders who once walked, worked, and dreamed in these now buried landscapes. Yet the desert preserves these echoes selectively, reminding us that time is impartial. What survives is never complete, leaving gaps filled by imagination, inference, and careful research. This interplay between what is discovered and what remains hidden maintains the allure of mystery, ensuring that the story of lost cities is never fully told. And perhaps that is precisely why they continue to fascinate us. Each sand-covered ruin is a challenge, a puzzle, and a reminder that even the most sophisticated societies are transient, their brilliance and tragedy preserved only in fragments. Myths and the relentless patience of the desert as we stand at the threshold of understanding these civilizations. One cannot help but ask, what other marvels remain buried beneath dunes yet to be explored? How many lives, networks, and cultures lie silent, waiting for the patient eye of discovery to awaken their stories? The desert keeps its secrets meticulously, revealing only pieces at a time. And it is in these fragments that we glimpse the extraordinary tapestry of human history that continues to lie hidden beneath the sands. And now, we arrive at the final reflection, the haunting legacy of the lost cities buried beneath the sands. A reminder that history is both persistent and fragile, visible yet often concealed. These civilizations, from the legendary Ubar to the rediscovered Saruq Al-Hadid and the mythic Zerzura, exist as silent witnesses to human ambition, ingenuity, and the relentless passage of time. They speak of cities that flourished against impossible odds, where merchants traversed deserts, artisans crafted objects of beauty, and families built lives around wells, temples, and bustling marketplaces, all in landscapes that would eventually reclaim them. Yet, for every city that has been uncovered, countless others may remain buried, hidden beneath endless dunes, waiting for a moment when curiosity technology, and patience aligned to reveal them. The deserts preserve, erase, and transform simultaneously. They hide roads that connected civilizations, wells that sustained life, and artifacts that reveal the culture, beliefs, and everyday existence of people who thrived centuries ago. They challenge us to reconstruct histories from fragments, to interpret ruins, texts, and anomalies, and to understand that human achievement is always provisional, subject to environmental, social, and economic forces beyond individual control. Technology has granted us unprecedented tools to peer beneath these sands, but it cannot fully restore the lives, stories, and experiences that once animated these cities. We are left with echoes, the faint outlines of streets, the remnants of buildings, shards of pottery, religious texts, and the myths passed down across generations. These echoes provoke awe, curiosity, and sometimes a profound sense of melancholy, reminders that human ambition, no matter how great, is vulnerable to the inexorable forces of nature and time. And yet, there is beauty in this fragility, for it underscores the resilience, creativity, and vision of civilizations that dared to flourish where survival was never guaranteed. As we conclude our journey through the lost cities of the desert, we are left with lingering questions that may never be fully answered. How many more cities lie hidden beneath shifting sands, their stories unread, their streets untrodden for centuries? How much of human ingenuity and culture remains invisible, waiting to be uncovered? And in the quiet spaces between discovery and imagination, the deserts continue to whisper, patiently guarding their secrets while inviting those willing to seek, to wonder, and to marvel. The lost cities beneath the sands are more than ruins. They are timeless reminders of human ambition, impermanence, and the enduring mystery that lies at the heart of our shared past. Sit back, listen to the desert's silent story, and imagine the civilizations that, though buried, continue to speak across the ages, waiting for us to hear.